I've decided to go right to the beginning of the fourth movement of the Archduke Trio. There's enough recurrent figures and enough things that relate to one another that starting at the beginning makes perfect sense. I'll look for trouble, I guess. Well, seventh measure. It's not what I would call trouble. I have to decide between starting on the auxiliary note and not. Many people consider that late Beethoven, more appropriately, we start on the main note often. In this case, I'm going to give myself the artistic license of saying, do I prefer starting on the B or starting on the E? Let's see. All of his little shakes start on the main note, so I'm going to do the same thing here. That's a very odd fingering choice that I've made. Normally I would not trill from 1 to 2 on black to white, but it does happen to make the rise of the fourth easy, and I had written it previously, and I rather like it, so I'll stick with these. Fit under the hand really nicely. At our rehearsal we decided not to play this too fast. It says Allegro moderato. If I'm practicing some of these a little faster than I ultimately do in performance, that's okay, so long as I'm working for fluency and ease. I just want to make sure that I'm not feeling I'm fighting it. So. I want to get down to the bottom of this on the thumb. I have to turn on B flat to fourth, in other words, use an F major scale fingering. I could, by contrast, go to 3, which is minutely more comfortable, and then turn my hand. The other negative about the fourth is I have to reuse it quickly. So I'm going to, although I see no indication of ever having had to write down that decision before, since I'm so hyper aware because I'm recording of how I'm thinking and how my decision making goes, I'm going to write down the third. And I like that my longest finger is the only one on the black note. That works very nicely. To make sure that this is easy, it's just a sixth, but I am going up to the third finger. To assure myself of comfort and security, again, I flatten it out a bit and I make it a diagonal placement on the key. It's interesting that Beethoven here writes espressivo, so I might savor those ascending figures just a little more than I would have had he not written that. He's also indicating the primary quality of this voice, which is all alone. And right is usually how you optimize that approach. In other words, if I'm a little bit sloppy or if I don't give myself enough room to reapproach the keyboard, that's when I ask for trouble. I want to feel that groove. Here it is. And your body will tend to tell you, I'm right there. In other words, it couldn't be better than that. It couldn't feel better. I could use fifth, but that wouldn't feel for me as secure. Here in the left hand is we have a seventh chord with 4 notes. If I go towards fourth, I'm a little bit uncomfortable, so I want to remind myself of that seventh. I need to carry my hand up a little more. have parentheses from my choices the other day to stick with 3. Chaining all these notes together, the risk is I'll let the passage dictate how I hold my hand. I don't want to have that happen. For example, I don't want 2 half step below 4 to compress my hand. I want very clearly to have a sense of comfort when I get to the 2. So I move in accordance with comfort. So it's out, in. I need a 5th finger for that leap. Turn off a buzz. I'll be right back.